G'day, Kazza from Kazza's Camping, and welcome to my first actual camping video. Kind of a little bit excited, finally got onto YouTube. Got another video on there, just a bit of a practice. But Kazza's Camping, so really focusing on camping. We'll probably do a little bit of other stuff as well. And so yeah, give you guys a few tips and things. One of the first tips I want to do with camping is to do with the good old damper. A lot of people when they go camping love to make up a damper, and I'm going to do a lot of damper recipes over the weeks and times. So at the very start, a little bit about damper, and that is I'm going to do a very traditional damper for you today. We're doing one at home, we're not out camping. One of the reasons why we do it at home to start with, get some practice. When you go camping, the last thing you want to be doing is stressing about things, fighting with things, struggling with stuff, and particularly damper for dinner. You want to have a nice enjoyable trip. So we're going to do a nice easy for you damper, very traditional. Now traditional damper, back in the days when they didn't have fridges, eskies and ice and all that sort of stuff, so it was flour, salt and water. Right? Bit of self-raising flour. So we're going to make it up inside, and then we're going to go outside and I'll show you how we actually set up a bit of the camp oven and get it ready, and how we can do a cheat for practicing, do your damper, getting temperatures and stuff right. So, self-raising flour, straightforward, around about a cup. Straight in your bowl, nothing really tricky there. And just a little bit of plain old salt. Bit of a shake in there, about a teaspoonful. And just give that a bit of a stir. Wooden spoon, etc. doesn't really matter too much. And a bit of a stir up. Straightforward and easy. And then what I generally do is just make like a little bit of a well in the flour. Water. And just sort of pour it in there. Don't stress too much about how much water we're putting in, because if it's not enough we can add a little bit more, and if it's a little bit too much, but I generally go for filling up the well to start with. And I just give it a bit of a mix. So we've got it all in there, bit of a mix up, and we'll start clumping a little bit. Sometimes we might feel that we need to get a bit more water in there early. My honest advice is just give that a good mix for a few minutes. Alright, and it's still looking a bit clumpy. Alright, I'm going to give it a bit more of a mix, because that quite often comes together. Get moisture bits off the side, and after a minute or two, if you're going nah, still not quite getting there, I'm going to be very gentle with the water, because if you think you need more, it just needs less. So just a little bit of a splash and a dribble at each time. Again, stir it through. You might have noticed that was a very little bit of a splash and dribble I did in there. And that's starting to come together already, so I don't even think we'll need any more actual water than that. I'm just going to basically keep it stirred around. Again, take it off the sides. Now at this stage here, I'm going to go away from using my spoon, and I'm actually going to use my hands. Now, I've already washed my hands before we start cooking. And what I'm going to start doing is I'm just going to, it's like a little bit of kneading it in the bowl. Just a little bit of a squish around, bit of a squish together, bit of a knead. And that's taken all that dried, separated clumpiness that we were seeing before, and that's giving it all a nice little bit of a bind. Now we don't want to go overboard with the kneading, because if we knead it for too long, like 5 minutes like they do with breads and stuff like that, it can actually make the damper a little bit tougher and chewier. Because we want a nice light, easy going damper. So as you can see, all those little bits of crummy bits in there before, I've got myself a nice small ready to go little damper. That's it, the bowl's almost dry, and as I've discovered, my hands are still fairly clean. First few times I did this out trying out camping, where I was just mucking around and practicing and not knowing what I was doing, my hands are so sticky and clumpy, really hard to wash off out bush. Good to give it a practice here, because I want to wash it off in the sink and get it all down pat when we're out there camping. In a minute, go outside, we'll show you how we're going to set up the camp oven, get this into the camp oven, we'll get it cooked for you, and we'll show you what a very traditional damper can end up being like. Alrighty guys, so we come outside now. I've got some heat beads in one of these little chimneys. I've got a couple of little fire starters, nice and easy cheap. Some leftover coals from last night. I'm going to put that over there. Now that's going to probably take about 10 minutes to get those coals ready. Now over here in my camp oven, I've got a bit of grease piece paper. Good trick with these things, when you take them out, get them scrunch up. Makes them feel a lot better. I've got a little trivet sitting in there on my camp oven. Got my damper, which will go on there. A bit on top. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to give it about 5-10 minutes for these to get nice and warm and hot. And I'll come back outside. We'll quickly show you I'm going to have 5 underneath, a few 5 on, about 5 on top. And then we'll leave that for about 20-25 minutes. I'll come back out and hopefully show you some cooked damper. Nice little bit of a cheat. This is we just had in the backyard. Use these, you get constant heat. When you're out camping, you'll have different wood. You'll learn over time to use different woods, give you different coals, which will give you different heats and different times for your damper. Good way to start out in the backyard. Give it a go. Alrighty guys, so as you can see, we've got some nice red coals in here. We've got some leftover coals from last night, hint number whatever. Don't go directly onto cold grass, it gets rid of heat real quick. All we need to do now is just shake out a few of these. Go about 4, 5. Have a look, I've got enough for one more. So that's a nice little bit. I've got my damper already in there. So my camp oven will sit nicely on top. And I'm going to put the rest. If I did a nice count, not too bad. So 6 underneath, 7 on top. Just keep it a little bit equal. Put that off to one side. Now I'm going to leave that for about 25 minutes and hopefully we'll come back to a nicely made damper. See you back in 25 minutes guys. Alrighty, so we're back about 25 minutes. As you can see, we've got the fire going, and I'm just going to shift that just a little bit away from the heat. Now, bought one of these guys a couple of months ago. Fantastic. Hook it on there on the lid. That hooks on. Now I can take that lid off. No ash going in there at all. Quick check. Looks nice. Skewer in, out, nice and dry. That there is one hot, but nicely cooked. Beautiful little damper. So there's my first damper guys, and all I can say is